Dear.
Before I say anything, you check something.
All right, you guys are back from executive session. Go ahead,
I
Ed.
got one question before you do that. Liaisons to the Okay, we're out of executive session. We've made a decision on a personnel issue, and the matter will be handled by the liaisons to that particular department, and we'll have it all finished before the next meeting. Thank you.
I need a motion to come out of executive session then.
I will make the motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, we're still on presentations, and I see Patty's here now. So instead of us going through departments, I'm going to have one more presentation. And Patty Brooks, you want to come up?
Let's get turned on. That helps. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for placing me on the agenda with such short notice. I'm here this evening to chat with you about a proposed two-lot subdivision of lands of Alan and Kathleen Guarino at the intersection of Ruby Road and Ashland Drive. They own a parcel of land that they're trying to do a two-lot subdivision, and we were looking to access the one parcel off of Ruby Road. As you can see, if you look at the map, we have the shaded area of Ruby Road that shows the end of Blacktop, and that is the end of the currently town-maintained portion of the roadway. However, if you look to the left of that, you'll see end of deeded Ruby Road. The deed of conveyance to the town included the 50-foot strip extending approximately 150 feet westerly of where Ruby Road was constructed. So we are looking to create a lot. The planning board had suggested that they wanted to see 25 feet of road frontage on the improved portion of Ruby Road. So we did extend the boundary line to include that. And if you look at the proposed driveway, which is the red dashed lines just above the 173.89 and below the P2, the grade there is approximately 23% grade. So to construct a driveway within that 25-foot strip would be challenging, if not impossible, and quite frankly doesn't make any sense when it's running parallel to and immediately adjacent and northerly of the land that's already been conveyed to the town of Marlborough. So I proposed to the town attorney, we were permitted by the planning board to talk offline, and I said, how about if at the end of Ruby Road we construct the driveway in the location of the gravel lane, because then we'll be able to get our 10 to 15% grade on the driveway. He said that the planning board would not be able to approve that without there being some kind of an agreement with the town board to permit a private individual to construct a driveway within town-owned roadway. So that is the reason that we are before the town board this evening, is to ask permission, seek permission to allow the applicants to construct a driveway from the maintained end of Ruby Road into lot number 2 to be able to achieve the grade that is required for a driveway. And again, we are meeting at the site on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. If anybody who's interested in coming and looking at the field site conditions so they can see exactly what it is that we're talking about.
So Patty, I mean, I was up there once already for the site visit the first time. I mean, I guess the problem that we all came about on it is not the extending the road, what you're asking for, is it where does the town stop when they have to plow? Like when you're plowing Ruby Road now, and then if say you put a private driveway off of Ruby Road, where does the town end and stop pushing snow?
Right, I'm assuming that right now the town plows the road to the end of the blacktop and then just pushes it into the remainder. Where the driveway would be entering into the property is where the gravel lane splits off, that dashed black line. So there still would be approximately 50 feet beyond that for the town to continue to push that snow.
So how would you, I see your gray lines like right on the corner of the edge of Ruby Road. How would you connect? So you have a proposed road here?
Right, that's existing actually.
Right, that's the dirt road right there.
And so basically they would be following up like that.
But how would you get from here to here without?
Well, they would improve the driveway.
Okay. So where are you saying we would push snow if we were going to push it?
So the driveway would be this line here, and the snow would be pushed onto that. It's just probably another 50 feet further than they're pushing it right now.
But we would have to go on a road that's not town spec? Or would you build that section to town spec? Because, you know, with our town plows, it's a little rougher than a normal plow, and if we rip up a private road now, then we're going to be responsible. So I could see, again, we're going to have a field site Wednesday. We'll have a lot more discussion, but I could see if if that was built to town spec, right, and that the highway superintendent approved that it was built to town spec, that little section, right, then maybe we can move with that, because then the remaining driveway would be a normal driveway, right? But we don't want to be plowing onto a non-town spec road, because we might rip it up and then we could be sued, and you know, now the taxpayers of Marlborough have to pay for that. So that would be my only question. I mean, you know, so that would be something I'm going to have to ask at the meeting on Wednesday.
Great, yeah, no, and the applicant is here this evening, so she's also hearing the comments, and that's a good point that I had not considered, the town plowing a non-town road.
Yeah, that's our biggest issue. I think that was when we went up there the last time, we talked about a roundabout. There wasn't enough space for a roundabout. Also, you know, you have another property owner that owns property to that side where we might be pushing the snow, which we've been doing it for, I guess, years, because we're at the end, right? I mean,
Right.
John's here, so that's how we kind of do it, right, John?
We stop by the blacktop, there's small shale in there,
Yes,
that's not good.
good for the plow blades.
So that would be my main question, and that's what I'm going to ask. I mean, I'm not going to say we're going to make a decision tonight, but I mean, I want any other board members have any questions, though, this is the time to ask, because this will be something that will come back to us for a decision.
Yeah, we weren't looking for a decision tonight. I just
Right.
thought that I wanted to give you all,
Absolutely.
the presentation before we were meeting at the site, and that way, if anybody did have questions, whether they have them tonight or whether they think about them in the meantime, we're all part of the same email string. Everybody's welcome to ask me questions, hopefully before the meeting on Wednesday, so that I'll be properly prepared to address them. And certainly, if anybody has any initial questions this evening, I'd be happy to try and respond to them.
I mean, would the applicant be open to extending the road to town spec? And then I would assume maybe then the highway superintendent would be more open to accepting that extension to where you get to your main driveway. Or
Right, it's certainly something that I'll discuss with the applicants. I know Pat Hines had spoken of a private road spec that was 20 feet in width as opposed to a minor town road, which maybe is not appropriate for the driveway, but certainly that's something that we can discuss between now and Wednesday, and hopefully we'll be prepared with an answer for you.
in that section, that would be about 125 feet, you're saying, or is that less probably?
Well, no, just for the area until the driveway spins off is probably about 50 feet.
50 feet. So we would be saying if you built that 50 feet section to town spec and then come off it as a normal private road, I think you'd have a lot more acceptable people, excluding the highway superintendent. I'm not going to speak for him, but that was where I would say from a legal perspective and insurance reasons and things of that nature would benefit the town's people. So think about that for Wednesday's meeting. That's all I would say.
Okay?
Just a quick question.
Go ahead, Kathy.
If you're asking us to be encumbered by the price of that road, it is within the envelope that the town should have not accepted previously, because the previous builder didn't build the road out to the full spec when they presented.
Yeah. I mean, I read the documents that we have, and we accepted the road up to the end of the blacktop as far as being paved, if I'm correct, John. I mean, we have two different versions of what was accepted and what wasn't. The one I have, the signed documents by the highway superintendent and the board said they accepted the road up to where the blacktop ended. Now, I know there's deeded road past that, but they only accepted the driveway or the blacktop up to the blacktop area. Now, again, that...
Who owns that section that is deeded to the town, but the town... when
So
they
that,
accepted
as far as I know, Kathy, I think the town, that property is deeded to the town, correctly?
Yeah, and I think part of what happened in the past is that, this was done in 1988. And at that point in time, there were not requirements for as-built to be prepared by the developers prior to the towns accepting roads for dedication. I mean, I think we've learned a lot in the interim. And now those maps are required, and I think there probably was the understanding by the town board when they accepted that road that it was built to the full extent that it was supposed to be. Again, none of us can know
Yeah,
what
I mean-
really occurred, but
Yeah, I can't speak for a past board or be bound by a past board for
Right.
something like that. I can only go whatever my legal professional will tell me. I'm just telling you what they're telling me. I mean, I'm not an expert on roads. I'm not an expert on deeds. I'm just going to go by what they tell me, and that's what we're going to discuss on Wednesday a little further with you guys on site. We probably should have had that the first meeting, but that didn't happen, so we'll have a second meeting. I think it's a good idea, and I know I'll be there at 5. I know John will be there at 5. Most of the planning board members are going to be there. I believe our attorneys and engineers are going to be there. And any board members welcome to come at 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Can a private person build within property that's been deeded to the town?
I'm sorry, Kathy, I didn't hear you.
So as a private citizen, would we be able to build that road out 50 feet? Which is
It would have to be an agreement between the town and yourself as the person who's requesting to do that. We'd have an agreement that it would have to be built to town spec, and then we would have to probably deed that section of property, or no, we would own the property.
you
at that
already
point.
own it, yeah.
We would own that property at the time, but it would have to be built to a town spec road and signed off by the highway superintendent. Then the road that you construct after that 50 feet could be your normal private drive.
Which
It's-
basically is why we're here this evening,
Right.
is to
It's
say,
just that
what will
50
the town
feet
board
is we
allow?
can't accept just a private driveway blacktop section because we know with our plow trucks and salting and plowing and over time, it's going to rip the road up. That's why we don't accept private roads unless they're up to town spec. So again, I don't want to speak out of term because I'm not an expert on this. It's a planning board more matter, but it does have to come to us for this section, and then it has to get signed off by the highway superintendent, and that'll go through all the legal process that has to happen. But I don't think there's something that we can't do. It's just a matter of getting it down on paper and willingness on both sides to come to an agreement. That's all. And yeah, you could say whatever you want. That's why we're here.
So unfortunately, typically what happens is over the years is when the original developer owned the property, the powers that be at the time bent the rules a little bit. This is what happens. And unfortunately, the next owner that takes control, usually you don't let a road go in unless there's a hammerhead or a cul-de-sac at the end of the road. John can verify that. What happened in 1988 or whenever it was, this is what happens. It gets flopped onto the next owner. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. I see that the problem is, this parcel is deeded to the town now, and somebody gave permission to allow the development to go in without doing everything that was required. And now we're at the point where, unfortunately, the new owners got to take care of what has to be done. So I think it's easier for us to ask questions when we go to the site review on Wednesday. Looking on a map is one thing, but when you're there and you can see the terrain and what's going to be involved is a whole different ballgame. So I'm thinking maybe we could clarify a few more things at the site review. That's my opinion.
Definitely, I could see where you're saying coming off the side of the road and going down that hill. I mean, I've been there. It'll be very tough to do that. Can it be done? I mean, anything could be done if you had to, but it definitely would be hard to do. But
Typically, today's standards, we would never allow it to happen. The
No,
highway superintendent would be involved.
no.
He would need a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead or whatever he requires, and there would be no exception. I mean, back then, things were different.
Well,
It's
again,
unfortunate, but this is where we're at.
I have a couple of questions. So basically what you're asking, Scott, is to put 50 feet more added onto the road up to town specs, correct? Over here.
Coming off here like this.
Right. But it's going to be like this road.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
And this is their road now.
Now where's he going to push this snow? See, it's going straight out, I think, Scott, yeah. So he would push to this area here. But a little further down. John, question for you. What we're talking about right here so far, you're okay if they add the 50 feet of road?
The only thing I would have to go there is just to look, does the part of the cul-de-sac start where the blacktop ends, or it goes in, is it going 50 feet and then there's a cul-de-sac? I'm not really remembering earlier that day.
The way she just showed it to me, the road's going to extend past the one driveway, and then the driveway goes up, and then
If on the map it says that the cul-de-sac starts where the blacktop ends, that would be the only.
thing you would accept.
So what they're saying, John, is extending the road 50 feet. We're going to have a similar situation, but off to the side of the road now, you'll have the private road connect to it, but you'll have the ability to push the snow forward past the town. That's what you're doing now. So it's just getting an additional 50 feet so they could get their cut into the road better.
About what happens to beyond that point with the people that own the next piece of property, what happens?
Well, yeah, well, that's what we talked about up there. I mean, realistically, a roundabout or a hammerhead like Dave's talking about is really what's probably needed there, right? So that way the next person who wants to do his property to the side doesn't come up with the same situation, right? So that's what we got to talk about on Wednesday, because now we're pushing it down the road to another issue.
You really have.
The main thing
go to
we
here,
do
you
right
did.
now is do this the correct way, but there's also
Correct.
a lot of pieces of property that just end somewhere, and off the hillside on 9W,
Yeah.
down there, the road ends, and people come and ask me, when I put a driveway there, I really have no say. It's all up to the planning board. So my job is I go there with they give me the building permit or the driveway permit. I go there, I check the distance, make sure they don't need a pipe, whatever they need. That's really the only say the highway department. Highway superintendent.
Yeah, and you just got to, if they do build something to town spec, you got to say, yes, it is.
And then if,
Sign off on it.
then, then the engineers are involved.
Right. So I think having the meeting on Wednesday with everybody involved this time, if we all come together, I think we probably can come up with a solution. It's just a matter of how we get to that solution, right? So, I think, let's see what happens on Wednesday, and then we'll bounce ideas off the engineer and the attorneys and yourself. And
Yeah, I
you know,
do
and-
just want to clarify for John, though, that we are not proposing to put a cul-de-sac in. We don't have the land to put the cul-de-sac in.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, certainly when this road continues and the other lot is developed, that gives the planning board, the town board, that gives everybody in 2022 knowing what the standards and criteria are now to make sure it gets done right this next time. Yeah, agreed.
You're good? You guys got any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Those maps you gave them, does the planning board have that?
It's the same exact map. I just ran an 11 by 17 copy of the portion of it. I didn't want them to have to open up big maps.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Patty.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Kathy, for coming, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Okay? All right. So now we're going to get into reports of departments and boards. Start with my report. Supervisor report, May 2022, met with Councilwoman Sesha and our Recreation Committee members with Vinnie Pomerico to discuss the summer concert series in the park. We'll be having 4 concerts in July on Fridays this year. The dates July 8th, 15th, 22nd, and we'll be closing out the month on the 29th with a firework display after the concert. So I want to thank Vinnie Pomerico, because he lined up all the acts and he agreed to play the last concert for free for the town. So he will be writing that letter for us, as our code says so. And we're going to be trying to raise funds for the fireworks, so this is not going to cost the taxpayers any extra money for the fireworks. Met with Herb Blitz from the GPI Engineering and Design, and we discussed plans for the Highway Department building update design. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but the town board has hired Herb Blitz GPI Engineering this year, and the first project we're having them look at is the Highway Department building to update the exterior and some expansions, not too big of expansions, and get it up to date. And we're looking for, which is the next person we had there, Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson, and we're asking Senator Skoufis to come down in next couple of weeks to see if they could help us with this update. So we met with Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson, Councilman Zambito, Highway Superintendent Alonji, Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff, Chief Kokoza, and my secretary Tina Rosa to show Assemblyman Jacobson the progress at Tomback. That is a $175,000 memorandum grant helped in renovating of our building. We also toured him at the Highway Department building to ask him to once again for financial assistance for the cost of renovating the 1650 building after the Tomback building is completed. Met with the Marlborough Milton seniors at the Presbyterian Hall to welcome them all back after 2 years off due to the pandemic. We had a great conversation with many questions about what's been going on in town, and gave them an update on the Tomback building and the Bayside project, the Dockside project. had a couple games of bingo, we had a good time, so they're happy to be back. Attended the monthly Ulster County Association of Supervisors and City Mayors meeting. We discussed the county ARPA $5 million sharing program, which will be being offered to municipalities for water and sewer projects. I want to thank our legislator Corcoran for spearheading this project. He's one of the men on the committee getting the money back to the municipalities. So this is one way he's been doing it. And there will be accepting applications for funding for 33% of the projects up to $500,000. We also discussed this county sales tax revenue sharing with municipalities. So Dennis Doyle, just for the board, and I think you're aware of, Dennis Doyle is working on that application to submit to the county for our Marlborough sewer plant. Met with Deputy Supervisor Appler, Councilman Zambito, Highway Superintendent Longi, Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff at Camp Young on the Bayside property. We were trying to determine if we could salvage anything from the building that would be of any historical value to the town. Unfortunately, we came to the conclusion that there was not. I had a follow-up discussion with the property owner, well, soon-to-be property owner, Eric Baxter, and he does not want anybody to take anything off the property. He does not want anybody to go on the property because of insurance reasons and liability reasons. If someone falls and gets hurt, he just does not want anybody to be on the property. They will be taking the building down. There is some asbestos in there, so they got to do it in an orderly way. And just want to stress, if anybody's interested, please don't go on the property. Okay. Met with Deputy Supervisor Appler, Councilman Zambito, Highway Superintendent Longi, Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff at Sands Avenue Park, and we discussed the updates being done. That Local 17 will be donating to the dog park, and Dave has a lot to do with helping them out. We started planning the location of the walking path and discussed the location of the gazebo at the top of the hill overlooking the river, and had follow-up discussions with Deputy Supervisor Appler, and I believe he's working on hopefully getting the design for the gazebo set. I held our quarterly department head meeting. Each department head gave an update on their departments, on what items they believe we need to work on. We had great discussion on all that we have accomplished over the past 3 months, and I had laid out some items I would like completed by our team over the next 3 to 6 months, and they're also willing to do all these items. So they already started doing a lot of them, and I appreciate it. You know, Tom, Charlie, John, Dave, Gail, I mean, you guys are all stepping up every day, and whatever I asked, you guys have been more than happy to take care of, so thank you guys. Met with Superintendent Alonji, Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff, Lenny Scaturo, and all the highway employees, and we inspected the cement floor that was poured at the Tomback building. As everybody went by, you could see that the extension floor and walls are all complete. So thank you to everyone at the Highway Department, Water Department, Lenny Scaturo for all the outstanding job in completing the extension work for our renovation project. I met with Rob Pollock, Central Hudson representatives, Deputy Supervisor Appler, Councilman Zambito, Building Inspector Corcoran, Water Superintendent Maggio, Highway Superintendent Longi, Deputy Superintendent Lazaroff, and Chief Kokoza. So we have a lot of people that come to our little meetings. So we met at the Milton Hamlet project down in Milton, and we discussed the location of the electric poles, the parking, and the building. And we come up with a pretty good design now. There will be parking a little indented into where the poles currently are. The poles will not be moving, and that's because if we move them any further in, they would be too close to the building, and when Central Hudson cannot allow that. So we came up with an alternative design that will actually give 2 lanes through the hamlet. Attended the Meet Me in Marlborough and the Milton Hamlet Association Blossom Festival in the Hamlet of Milton. Thank you to Sheila Manisi and all the committee members for a very successful event. It was a little last minute from our end, but it all came together, and thank you, Chief, for getting the guys to come down there and help out. But they did a great job down there. It was really nice. Met with the school superintendent, Michael Brooks, and Chief Kokoza to discuss how the crossing guard and SROs are doing at the elementary school, and if there's anything we can do to make drop off and pick off better during the rush hour at the Hamlet. And I'm sure everybody's been in that traffic at some point in time, so we're trying to see if we could do anything to help that out. Met with former Supervisor Lanzetta and Budget Officer Christine Wilco to go over the first submission of reimbursement for the Tomback grant. Happy to say we did put the application in and finally got them all the paperwork, and hopefully we'll be getting a check by the end of the month for the first reimbursement. So thank you, Al. Attended the Milton Association Spring Fling and Local Grove Brewing in Milton. Thank you to Vivian Lazaro and her association members for a successful fundraiser that raised enough money to purchase all the flowers that will beautify the Milton Hamlet. Had multiple meetings on the renovation project for Tomback Building, Town Engineer Phil Bell and Zero Internet, and the Tomback renovation went out for bid on April 25th. And the bid opening will be on May 26th, so it's out to bid right now. Today was the first walkthrough for vendors to come and check, so hopefully we get a bunch of them and we get some good bids. Had a Zoom meeting with Brandy Nelson to discuss the Milton Pier project, obtain all the final documents from Arbin Group and her office so I can complete the paperwork for the $313,000 grant from Empire State Development. There's still some paperwork that has to be finalized, and Brandy needs to get me some paperwork so the building department could give me the CO. Until we get that, I cannot submit the reimbursement for the grant, so that's what I'm waiting on. Met with Councilwoman Sesha, Councilman Zambito, Building Inspector Corcoran, and representatives from the Marlborough Youth Baseball and Softball discussed Cluett Shantz Park baseball fields. We had a good discussion on the need for electric, water, lights, and field updates that are needed. And we'll be having a follow-up meeting on Thursday. So thank you, Sherida, for organizing that. Met with Chief Kokoza, Building Inspector Corcoran, Tina Rosa, and Town Clerk Colleen Corcoran, with representatives from TreeNote on the electronic filing system company to possibly start storing past and future documents electronically. Had a Zoom meeting with Deputy Supervisor Appler, John Beeham, Jason Pigaro, Kevin Lewandowski, and representative from CSX and DOT to discuss the final location and plans for the Milton Landing Crossing. I know Gail loves those meetings, but we're still not quite there yet. They rejected our last location, and we're back redesigning again. So we're getting there. And I had an IT meeting with Danny Brooks, Danielle Cherubini, Gary Lazaroff, Chief Kokoza to discuss cybersecurity ransomware concerns. We had a good discussion on fiscally responsible solutions to an ever-growing threat to our system, and it's everywhere. A lot of towns, a lot of businesses are getting hit with ransomware, and we're trying to beef up our security. So, respectfully submitted, Scott Corcoran, Supervisor, Town of Marlborough. Okay. Building Inspector, Tom.
Building Inspector's monthly report, end April 2022. Certificate occupancy 10, request for information 22, trailer park renewals 5, building extensions 13, fire inspections 5, fire calls 2, stop work orders 1, ZBA applications 2, orders to remedy 11, complaints 28, burn permits 1, clothing bin renewals 2, building permits 4 additions, 1 burn, 1 carport garage, 3 decks, 4 demos, 10 electrical, 1 furnace, 4 pools or hot tubs, 3 roofs, 3 sheds, 1 sign, 2 single-family homes, 7 solar panels. Estimated cost of building $1,982,920. Total permits 44. Monthly income, certificate occupancy $1,600. Permit extensions $2,778. Building permits $8,225.34. Request for information $4,400. Fire inspections, 1,185. Trailer park renewals, 2,325, for a total income of $22,613.34. Total gas usage, 92 gallons. Total miles, 1,096.
Any questions for Tom? No?
Good.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Tom. Chief, welcome back. Yeah, I bet you are.
Activity summary for the month of April 2022. Personal injury auto accidents 2, fatal 0. Property damage actions 14 for a total of 16 for the month. Vehicle and traffic summonses issued 140 with 3 parking violations issued. Complaint activity total bladder entries 1,336 with a total of 17 arrests for the month. Telephone calls handled, I'm going to say that's wrong, 18,758. I don't think it's quite that much. I would say more like 1,800, 1,875 probably. But anyway, part-time dispatch overtime 48 hours. Police mileage for the month 9,713 miles with a fuel consumption of 974.379 gallons.
All right, guys, got any questions for Chief? You haven't seen him in a while.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. Unfortunately, we can't discuss what's still going on. It's not over, but it's over enough that I could come back. So
Good.
It's all good. Thank you for everybody for all the support while I was out, all the well wishes. This day couldn't happen fast enough, that's for sure.
Well, we missed you. Not just in your chief's responsibilities, but your IT responsibilities, your paper trail responsibilities. You come into all our little meetings and giving your input because we do rely on you a lot, and you don't realize it till you're not here. So I'm extremely happy you're back.
One thing through my adventure I could tell you, I've never had more time off in my entire life and such difficulties getting anything done. I need to be at work to get stuff done.
That's right.
I had all the time in the world, but still couldn't get anything done while I was home. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jerry. Okay. I believe we got Charlie next, don't we? Let me see here. Let me get to him. All right. Highway Superintendent John Alongi. How you doing, John?
Hey, everybody. Monthly report for April 2022. Most of the month we dedicated to refurbishing the Tom Beck building. We assisted sculptural landscaping and masonry in preparing and installing a new foundation for the addition. A few days were spent removing debris due to the demolition. Highlights of the month. Our new street sweeper has been out through this month, sweeping all the roads of sand and salt from our winter storms. On 4/7, we installed all the trucks with our tarps and tailgates preparing for summer paving projects. All snow plows were stored at the landfill. On 4/8, we cut down and removed large willow tree in the stream on Bingham Road. After several rainstorms, we spent several days cleaning pipe ends, catch basins, and repairing driveway aprons and cold patching pavement holes. We addressed the drainage issue on Prospect Street and Ridge Road. We also did blacktop repairs on Highland Avenue, Bingham Road, North Road, Old Indian Road, Chestnut Lane. We also did blacktop repairs in both hamlets. On 4/19, we assisted the water department with a fire hydrant setup. We did some drainage, ditching on Bingham Road and at the intersection of Bingham Road and Latintown Road. We also ditched the road across from Locust Grove Brewery on North Road. And on 4/29, we rolled the ball field for the Little League in Youngs's Park, and we spent several days preparing the roadsides for our summer paving projects. Yeah, she didn't write that on mine for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what we used.
You got to start using less diesel's too much now. $11.96
Yeah.
at $6 a gallon
Well,
is
I mean, we
a
can
lot
all
of money.
sit around and have lunch.
Yeah, I know you guys don't stop. So I mean, look, like I say it before, I say it again. I appreciate everything you do and your guys and.
We got the,
Did a lot of
the
stuff.
tractor at the ball field.
Yep.
We got Tom's tractor, the
Thank you.
three-wheeler going. So our plan was, we're gonna go up there maybe one day. I think Dave was gonna try to figure out the ball fields for you guys. Get
Yeah.
them somewhat, and then you guys can maybe maintain them.
I want to try to meet with you guys and Tom and go over. So we had a discussion about the upper fields and actually making them 2 fields, right, Sharada? And that includes possibly fencing those fields now. The fields really don't get used that much for soccer at all. And I think on the baseball side, they would get used quite often if we actually had them set up and then we maintained them. And if you maintain them and you play on them, you don't have to maintain them as much, actually, you
They
know?
would just let go too
You know,
far.
so what happens is when you don't play on them, the grass grows through the dirt. So I know Dave had said he would donate going up there a few hours with his machine and getting the grass out. Sheridan said the Marlborough Youth Baseball would help out what needed. I want Tommy to go up there and measure out the field for the right distance before we just start chopping the field up. And so we got to make sure that the field is cut properly. But you know, like I said at our department meeting, we all come together as a team, we work together as a team, and we get things done as a team. So it's been great. So just, you know, before we go up there, let's do. I mean, like Sheridan called, but one day I text Gary. He was up there that day, picked up the machine, and had it fixed by the next day. So, you know, that's how quick we can get things done when we work together. So it's been great, and I appreciate everybody's help. So we'll keep moving forward.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I closed the office a couple of times in reference to the road giving out of the stone wall at the top of the force field. Yeah, any status update?
Whenever we went there to look at that, I mean, there's really nothing I can do other than maybe just watch what the water's doing. Is the water rolling over this side of the road and eroding it?
No, we have less heavy traffic up there lately, which I'm sure is going to, deteriorate as fast as it was.
Oh.
The road is, did you come down into the field and look?
No, I didn't go into it.
Yeah, because we moved the fence back so you could work on it if you needed to. But
Where is he working?
it is even now. Underneath the stone wall.
No.
Under the stone.
Yeah. So we did the fixes on the road where it's giving out.
So busy with water. Oh my God. We had a lot of people that moved into the area. Just realized what they want.
Yeah.
Highway department.
Yeah, I just would need to see a heavy loaded truck up there and then the whole thing came out.
Okay, so it's underneath the stone.
Under the stone wall, it's giving out into the field. And did you guys happen to get together with Mr. Alford or anything at the reservoir?
All I heard about something.
Okay. Sorry? Yeah, because I checked the reservoir again today, and nothing, so I just think I had to go. Great, okay.
All right, we have an open discussion on the floor. Are we good? Okay, thank you. Charlie, you're up. How you doing, Charlie?
How are you today? Monthly report for April. Our water consumption totaled 14,841,000 gallons for the month, which is a daily usage of 494,700. Compared to last month, we had 17.40 million gallons of water, which is a daily usage of 549,677. And compared to a year ago, it was 16,849,000 for the month, which is a daily average of 543,516. Summary for the month: curb boxes, we had to repair curb boxes on Highland Avenue, Orchard Street, and Sherman Drive. Hydrant, we had to repair a fire hydrant on North Young Avenue and 9W because of a damage of a car. Meters, we're continuing to replace old meters in our wireless system. The batteries keep on failing, so soon I'm going to be running out of meters.
Yep.
Calls for dirty water on Orange Street and Reservoir Road had to be addressed. We had to repair water main road cuts with the help of the Highway Department. We had to open the bathrooms at the park. We also had to repair the toilets up at the playground bathrooms. And we also opened the dog park. Closings, we had 5, markouts 50, gallons gas 200, Gallons of diesel, 25, and the mileage for the month, 1,800.
Hey, Joe, the car accident, when they knock over the hydrant, the insurance company for the...
We submitted everything to the person that hit the hydrant.
insurance company.
Their insurance. Our insurance is gonna,
I know when said we knocked down a telephone pole, I think.
yeah, well, supposedly our insurance company's going after it.
Yeah.
So hope,
Any questions, other questions for Charlie? Anybody? Oh, thanks, Charlie.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for everything. Okay. Town clerk, come on up.
Town Clerk Monthly Report for April 2022, Conservation 15 for $36.21, Dog Licenses 35 for a total of $180, Transfer Station Permits 2 for $75, Punch Cards 28 for $1,610, Marriage Licenses 2 for $35, Building Department Fees 1 for $19,678, Fire Fees 1 for $1,560, Camp fees 14 for $6,720. Accident reports 15 for $75. Insufficient fund bank fees 1 for $35. Burglar permits 1 for $20. Certified copies 4 for $130. Junkyard licenses 1 for $250. Park fees 2 for $600. Train station fees 1 for $300 for a grand total of $31,304.21.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Water quality management. Go ahead there, Councilwoman Sessa.
Okay, May 6, 2022. For the month of April 2022, both the Marlborough and Milton wastewater treatment plants complied with most of the SPDES requirements. The following are monthly statistics for both plants. Marlborough wastewater treatment plant average daily flow 184,000 gallons per day, about 105% of design capacity. Average BOD removal 97%. Average suspended solids removal 98%. Milton, average daily flow 50,000 gallons per day, about 91% of design capacity. Average BOD removal 99%. Average suspended solids removal 95%. Both the Marlborough and Milton treatment plants operated normally during the month of April without any major changes or events. The average flow for the Marlborough facility exceeded the design capacity of 175,000 gallons. This is due to a high amount of rainfall infiltrating into our collection system. The system was able to handle this flow without any additional violations or disruptions of treatment. I will include an explanation when submitting our data to the state. I strongly suggest we look into the sources of potential inflow and infiltration before this problem of high flow gets worse and more frequent. Typical sources are cracks in sewer pipes, deteriorated manholes, and homes pumping water from their basement into the system. The broken flitch, I don't know how to say that, pump used for the Marlborough digester tank has been rebuilt and reinstalled. Now the entire designed wasting system is working properly. If you need any additional information, do not hesitate to contact me, Julian Falco, Water Quality Management.
Thank you. So this is just to give you a follow-up, you know, with all the water we've had on top of what he's suggested here, it's really been affecting both our plants, not just the Marlborough. And part of this has been is going to be discussed in our upgrades to the Marlborough plant. Being that we had 105% of design capacity and our plant held it well, is actually a plus for us when we go and we're actually asking them for an extra 25,000 gallons per day with our current system. So in a way, it kind of helps us show them that we actually can handle this load. But again, we are looking now, if we get some money from the county, we were actually looking not just to upgrade, but we're actually looking to expand the sewer plant a little bit to make it even a little bigger. So if we get that money, that would be great. So hopefully we do.
How does it look getting that money?
We meet all the criteria. So, there's only $5 million. So you got to get your application in, and they got to look at each project individually, and then they decide. I'm going to push on our legislator to get us the money we need and get our plant updated. So it's all on. We're going to do our work, and then it's all on our legislator. So I'll leave it on him. But yeah, I think we meet all the criteria that they're asking for. They're asking for housing, update, not just updates, actually upgrades, and economic development. With the two housing units coming in, that fits that bill. We are going to upgrade the plant, that fits that bill. And with those things going on, it's actually going to create economic development within the hamlet, so that fits that bill. So I think we check off all the boxes on the requirements, but again, we'll cross our fingers. Town of Marlborough dog control. Eddie, you want to read this one? Can you see it?
I can see it. 441, 2022, 430 to 430, 2022.
Press your button.
I'll go over with that one. Monthly report 4/1, 2022 through 4/30, 2022. Received a total of 10 calls this month, including 2 calls to service from the New York State Police and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 3 active complaints and/or cases which are closed or resolved. We currently have 1 open case or complaint. We impounded 0 dogs this month. 4 appearance tickets were issued this month. There was 1 dog bite reported this month. We have 0 dangerous dog cases in progress in the Marlborough Justice Court. With warm weather, ticks are on the move. Ticks also use our dogs as vehicles to enter our homes. Please consider flea tick preventative for your pets and check them for ticks regularly. End of report.
Manny, here you go. You want to do the assessors, Manny?
Okay.
Just press the button, Manny.
Press your button.
Okay, the assessor's office.
It's not on.
We prepared 7 tax estimates and are working on 2
Not working. Give me yours.
2 commercial estimates. We proposed 41 sales this month. We sent out all of our change of assessment notices on May 2nd, 2022. We filed our tentative assessment roll on May 1st, 2022. Grievance Day is scheduled for Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. The Board of Assessment Review will be meeting between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m. and 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you. He's sleeping over there. Okay, Planning Board review. April 2022. Application fees $107,911. Escrow fees $22,697.80. Recreation fees 0. Come on, Jim. We need more recreation fees. Invoices $8,407.21. Meeting April 4th, 22. Attendees Chris Brand, Steve Clark, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Bob Translito, James Garofano, and Steve Jennison. Agenda approval of stenographer minutes for 3/7/2022. Approval for the 2/7/2022 minutes were granted unanimously. Garino 5, Ashland Drive, Marlborough Public Hearing Site Plan. That's what we just were discussing with Patty Brooks. The public hearing was opened and the board held a brief discussion regarding the recent site visit recently held with the board attorney Jeff Bastoni, Town Supervisor Corcoran, Planning Board Member Lanzetta and Jennison, and the Highway Department Superintendent and his deputy. Discussion included snow removal, lack of turnaround space, and emergency vehicle access. The applicant expressed dismay regarding the visit, which did not include the applicant or their representative. The board attorney requested additional time to review. Property deeds, adjoining property owners expressed concerns regarding their aforementioned board discussion, and as well as recent clearing on the site. Proposed setbacks and encroachment. Okay. The applicant agreed to waive the 62-day shot clock regulations and will continue discussions with the board attorney engineer, highway superintendent, and jurisdictional emergency service coordinator in an attempt to resolve the ongoing concerns. The board also agreed to notify the applicant and the representative of any additional site visits, and that's why we got notified today. Verizon, Marlborough High School, 50 Cross Road, Marlborough Public Hearing Site Plan. Member Garofalo again recused himself from the Verizon portion of the meeting. The public hearing was opened, and the board reviewed comments from wireless communication consultant Mike Musso regarding the applicant's progress. Several members from the community asked questions regarding the proposed location, lease agreement with the Marlborough Central School, proposed construction, timeframe, health concerns, and the co-location of county and town emergency services co-location, which the applicant agreed to and will confirm with written documentation. The applicant will return for April 18, 2022 meeting for continuation. Pollock Site Plan 39 Main Street, Milton, final site plan. Their board approved both the seeker negative declaration and resolution of approval by a 6-to-1 vote for a combined site plan and lot line revision. Bayside 18 Birchall Avenue, Marlborough Extension Site Plan. The applicant is seeking extension in compliance with Section 15531K. The attorney was authorized to prepare a resolution of approval for the consideration at the next meeting, which will identify the previous approval dates and propose extension limitations for the April 18, 2022 meeting. Dana DeSantis, 226 Highland Avenue, Marlborough Sketch Subdivision. The applicants reviewed their proposed site plan with the board. Town engineer Pat Hines. Comments included the applicants requested variances for proposed lot number 1 width, the necessity to include grading plans, highway superintendent comments on the proposed driveway, finished floor, elevations, and the sanitary sewer service, and technical notes which should be added for future plan submissions. A motion was made and unanimously approved for referral to the applicant to the ZBA. Du Bois Dave Jolie, 39 Main Street, Milton, Sketch Subdivision. The applicant reviewed their proposed site plan with the board. Town engineer Pat Hines. Comments included numerous technical issues to be addressed on future submissions, including bulk table deficiency, highway superintendent comments regarding the proposed driveway, possible easements, roadway dedications, agricultural data, setbacks, and Ulster County Planning Board review. The board unanimously agreed to waive topography required not applicable to the proposed subdivision. Discussion with stenographer, engineer, and attorney. The board discussed ongoing concerns regarding complete applications and the tracking of ongoing applications. The discussion also included the implication to the application process without input from the town code enforcement officer and his previously supplied gatekeeper letter. The board unanimously agreed to authorize attorney Jeff Bastoni to draft a letter to be sent to the applicants who have begun the approval process but have not made the progress for 6 months. The letter will indicate the next submission deadline and meeting date. Should the applicant not appear, the application will be terminated. Due to the lateness of the evening, the board unanimously agreed to table discussion regarding the lot line application revision. Next deadline, April 8th, 2022. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, April 18th, 2022. At the meeting on April 18th, 2022, attendees were Chris Brand, Steve Clark, Joe LaFaro, Bobby Translito, James Garofano, and Steve Jennison. Agenda, approval of the stenographer minutes from 3/7/2022. Approval of the 3/21/2022 minutes was granted. Member Garofano abstained from the approval of the Verizon discussion and asked to amend page 16 through 17. Buttermilk Spa expansion, Reed submittal, 2020 North Road, Milton, public hearing site plan. The public hearing was opened and closed with no input from the public. The board approved the amended special permit site plan by a vote of 5-1. Corrado subdivision, Burma Road, Marlborough Sketch subdivision. The applicant proposed a subdivision of 2.51 acres of land from an existing 56 plus or minus acre parcel. Questions regarding the access to the buildability of the remaining parcel was discussed. Wetlands on the parcel should be depicted. The subdivision would require Ulster County Health Department approval for sewer and Town of Marlborough Highway Superintendent review and approval on a proposed driveway. Bayside 18 Bursell Avenue, Marlborough Extension, final site plan. After a brief discussion over the interpretation of the town code regarding extensions of approval, the project received approval via resolution granting further extension for the site plan by a vote of 4-2. The extension will expire May 6, 2024. Verizon Marlborough High School 50 Cross Road, Marlborough public hearing, site plan. Member Garofano again recused himself from the Verizon portion of the meeting. HDR Michael Musso reviewed his finalized technical memo regarding the proposal tower. The board will finalize the color, fencing, landscaping in the following meeting. A final resolution of approval will be prepared for the meeting following next. Kadem Route 9W Marlborough sketch site plan. The board reviewed engineering Pat Hines' comments, which included building heights, permissible use of the HD zone, corner lot setbacks, bulk table requirements, easements, parking, grading, floor, elevations, water, sewer, stormwater, pollution prevention plans, and previously completed clearing and grading completing at the site. The site plan will require approval at the location of the intersection from the Town of Marlborough Highway Superintendent, as well as variance from ZBA for a front yard setback from Corbett Drive. Everybody got that, right, Tom? Now they know? Jeff Aldridge, 132 Milton Turnpike, Milton Sketch Subdivision. The board reviewed engineering Pat Hines' comments, which included bulk table requirements, wetland, on-site agricultural use, and buffers, lot geometry, proximity, and possibility of encroachment. I keep getting that of nearby baseball fields as possible encumbrance by the adjacent solar farm. No, that's true. The Town of Marlborough Water Superintendent reviewed the parcel to ensure adequate service from the water district based on the location and elevations of the proposed project. Discussion with engineering attorney. Chairman Brand read the following letter from member Lanzetta into the minutes. I am concerned about the discussion to change the new enacted in 2021 short-term rental 155-32.3 code. As you know, the town went through a lot of time and money developing and inventing the new law. The planning board has been working with members of a number of applicants and has been successful in navigation these operations. To outcome, these seem acceptable to all parties. We believe the law is operational as is, and it would be premature to change the law before we have a better understanding of how it is functioning. I would have to respectfully disagree. There is some changes that need to be made on code wording. It's not that we're actually changing anything specific of what we did for the actual short-term rental or bed and breakfast. It's just some wording in there that doesn't actually jive up, and our attorney agrees, and they are working on those changes as we speak. I would like to see the planning board as a board inform the town board that we would like to wait to see how the present law works before any changes are made. I will have my secretary draft a letter to say that we will be moving forward. And that was thank you, Cindy Lanzetta. Board member Tronsolito asked for clarification regarding contractors being required to provide portable toilet facilities for their employees. After a recent incident at one of his properties, there are currently no provisions in the code requiring contractors to do so, and he was encouraged to contact local police if future incidents occur. Next deadline, Friday, April 22nd, 2022. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, May 2nd, 2022. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman, Town of Marlborough Planning Board. Okay. We got Planning Board, we got everybody, right? All right, reports of committees. Recreation Committee. Charity, you want to add anything?
No, I think you covered the largest update in your report on that. The committee meets tomorrow, though, again, 7 o'clock at Kedem Winery, if anybody is interested in joining.
7 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay. Emergency Management Preparedness Committee. Again, I have no updates. We did get the feedback from the county reps, and myself and my deputy and our Tina Rosa will be updating that document. Conservation Advisory Committee, I have no report from them. IT Committee, just what I put in my supervisor's report, that we're working on some software or some hardware to help us with some security issues that could possibly be happening. Milton Train Station Foundation, I have no report. Milton Land and Citizen Committee, the only thing is that they had their fundraiser, as I said in my report, and they did raise the money for the flowers. So usually within a week or two now, you'll start to see those flowers down in Milton, and Vivian is the head of that, so she'll be heading that. Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee, I have no report. Meet Me in Marlborough, I do have a report. May 9th, 2022, Meet Me in Marlborough Town Board report. Meet Me in Marlborough, we'd like to thank everyone for their help support for making the first Blossom Street fair and fun-filled, safe event for everyone to enjoy. I especially thank you to Supervisor Corcoran for being readily available to discuss the event operations as they unfolded, the Highway Department for supplying cones for us to create a safe area for the vendors and pedestrians on Main Street, the Police Department for their assistance, and the officers Pagano and Perkins for directing and routing traffic, and for Officer Fulton for attending with the DARE vehicle. On Friday, April 29th, the after-event gathering at Locust Grove Brewing Company took place to cheer Blossom Street Fair volunteers in support of their sponsorship for all their hard work. As a follow-up to attending the Marlborough High School workshop this year, Meet Me Marlborough continues to pursue the idea of forming an agricultural club for future FFA into the Marlborough High School and gain interest among the teachers and students. Meet Me in Marlborough is bringing agriculture into the school with the help of the school administration and teachers. Meet Me in Marlborough is currently working with Carrie Schlagler, Marlborough High School science teacher, to provide an agricultural speaking series. We are working to coordinate agricultural speakers with Ms. Schlagler's class to talk to students about agricultural-related careers. It's a good idea. And Saturday, 5/21, May Farm Artisan Flea Market inside the Cluett Park on the rain date is on the 22nd. So that's taking place on May 21st, 9 to 4. At the Cluett Park, so anybody interested, there we go. Hamlet and Milton Associations Committee and Transfer Station Review Committee have no updates. Councilman Zambito would like to give an update on the parks.
So we have 9 municipal properties in total, and I visited all 9 between last Thursday and today, and just took a observation that 4 of the properties are cemeteries. They seem to be in good condition. They all seem to be in good condition, but what I'm noticing is we have a parks employee that is concerned about the garbage. It's getting a little bit too overwhelming for him to empty the pails on a daily basis, which is pretty much required anymore. So what I'm thinking is, I noticed at the park on Thursday, we had a person putting some household garbage into one of the receptacles, and I had said something, and they had informed me that they just couldn't afford to pay garbage pickups, which, you know, I mean, I can feel bad for that, but at the same time, you can't be dumping garbage at the town park or any of the other parks. So between that, the dog park is getting to be a little ridiculous with the garbage. Anything along 9W is getting to be ridiculous with garbage, people throwing stuff out the windows and whatnot. So what I'm proposing to the board is possibly maybe we could go down to Milton Hardware and get some signage made up. Can we convey to the public that these are going to be more or less a carry-in, carry-out facility? So if you come and have a picnic lunch, you pick up your garbage, you put it in a bag, you take it in your car, and you dispose of it yourself. This will alleviate our guy having to empty the garbage on a daily basis, because right now he's requesting that maybe he can get a helper, and maybe if we can alleviate some of his, you know, lessen the load, so to speak, you know, we could maybe make some signs up saying it's a carry-in, carry-out facility, and this goes for the dog park, the train station, the town park, and this way, you know, it could lessen his duties a little bit. And plus, we're putting cameras in, so I mean, if
Yeah.
it's under surveillance, maybe we can.
Do you want to get rid of all garbage cans?
No, I don't want to
is that
get rid of
what
any garbage cans at all. What I would like to do is just make it known that is now we're slowly switching over to a carry-in, a carry-out facility. Obviously, people are going to put garbage in the receptacles, but maybe we can, lessen it. Because right now, the guy's emptying the garbage, and 24 hours later, the pails are overflowing. And it's getting to the point where, I can relate to his concerns.
So yeah, we're going to be working on getting cameras. We have cameras right now by the upper bathrooms, by the basketball court and the playground.
The dog park.
The dog park, I just got an email from Spectrum today saying why we refused their service when I've been waiting 3 times for them to actually put in the service. So that's funny. Jerry just waited there for 2 hours for us the other day. A miscommunication there, so I wrote them back and told them to give me a call. So once we get that done, I told them that's the next park we have to look into, getting that service in there. But I mean, I don't have a problem with putting signs. Signs don't hurt, and they only could help, right?
Well, that's what I think. I think, it's not going to alleviate the problem 100%, but it'll lessen it a little bit. People will be a little more aware, and if they know there's cameras, maybe they'll be a little less, throwing stuff out.
I would just ask that you get like some kind of a number from them.
Yeah,
what cost would be, and shoot that to the board before we move forward. That's the number, and then we probably have to get a couple estimates. So, go ahead, sure.
Yeah, I would say let's just all circulate and agree on the wording before we order anything as well.
Okay, thank you.
What's the fine for littering, like on State Highway or something like that? Is it on 9W? Let's say.
On the state highway?
Yeah.
They start at like 125 or 150, and they go up to several $100.
That's what I thought.
But to be honest with
It's
you,
hard to catch them.
I hardly see violations for littering on the highway.
It gets.
I'm sure it happens, but they're far and few between being able to catch them.
I know they see
A suggestion that I might have for the garbage cans is to get a sticker made under video surveillance on every can. That might help a little bit too.
Yeah, just right on the can itself.
I witnessed the same thing. You try and talk to these people, and they're bringing their household garbage. The dumpster up there is constantly full, constantly.
Yep.
And I know we don't generate that much garbage, but if you notice down at the train station, every day that can has got bags next to it. You were down there, Supervisor Corcoran, the other day and cleaned up the rocks and stuff. I went down the next morning to inspect your work, and there was beer cans all over the floor.
I was there after you finished doing it.
Right, so...
So Jerry, today I was at the train station, and there was 2 individuals, young individuals. Now, what they're doing at 11 o'clock on a Monday, why they're not working is beyond me, but I'm from the old school. One guy was sitting at a picnic table drinking beer and left his garbage at the picnic table. The other guy was fishing. Now, and I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, 11 o'clock on a Monday, what are you doing? I don't get it. But if we could put some signage up and maybe deter the garbage.
I mean, again, these are public places, so you can't have people not go there, but we can to try to deter. I think Jerry's idea of putting something right on top of the cans themselves. The other thing is the main garbage container up on the hill. I know in the past we had it locked, but then Lamella had problems coming because someone would have to be there to make sure it was unlocked, because a lot of people just go up there and they just dump their stuff in the main container. They don't even come down the hills. So I don't know how you resolve that issue, but anything's going to help, Dave. I agree with you.
No, I think it's going to deter it. It's not going to solve it.
No, anything. I agree with you. I mean, get the what you say, the wording and the pricing, and we'll talk as a board, get it out, and I think next meeting, if we get it back, we'll move forward.
Thank you.
The town park is fully cambered. We don't have remote viewing access yet, but Supervisor Corcoran's working on that. But if there is an incident or something we need to investigate, it is fully recorded on a DVR, and we can go back and check. So just let me know if we need anything like that.
Yeah, what we're working on is where it will be fed right back to the police department real time, so they could actually see things happening instead of someone complaining a month later and saying, "Oh, I saw this happen." Well, we might not have the video by then. So So like real time. So hopefully that's what we're going to be getting. Okay. Deputy Supervisor Appler, you have an update you want to give on the pier? I know you've been waiting patiently. We're going to give Shedder the longest meeting.
So with the completion or near completion of the pier and the nice weather, we've been requested from certain groups, ships that want to come. We've been talking with American Cruise Lines. First things first, we need to set a set of rules up and some type of usage guidelines for the pier. So I did meet with the landing committee, and we've been reviewing a few other cities. The city of Hudson, we have their guidelines. We've spoken with Randy Ring, who's up and down the river. He's the guy that built the pier, about guidelines. I want to eventually, I don't have anything set in writing for the town of Marlborough yet, or even a draft proposal, but I just want to let you guys know that we are moving forward with coming up with some ideas. The first one was the sloop Clearwater wanted to use the dock at the pier in June. I believe they had contacted the school district. They were going to be taking some fourth graders on the boat and doing some educational stuff with them. I don't know if that's still up in the air. We haven't heard from Clearwater, and as far as I know, they had a pretty big construction thing going on where they had a lot of their planking off, and I don't know that they're in the water yet. So no new news on that, but that would be the first thing for pier usage that would be coming in front of us. Also, we had a request from the fireboat John J. Harvey to dock in Marlborough for Labor Day weekend, or for at least one night. We were going to set an entire event around them being here. We did a landing fest a couple years ago with some live music, and hopefully this Labor Day weekend we can do the same. We're actually planning for that now. The schooner Apollonia docked here a couple times last year. I believe they're starting they deliver freight up and down the river from Hudson to New York City. They stopped here last year and got some, I believe it was peppers from Hepworth and some pumpkins. I believe they're starting at the end of May with their first trip. We discussed pleasure boats, such as recreational vessels, docking at the pier for pickup and drop off, and possibly if they need to use the porta potty, setting a 30-minute time limit for them. The cruise lines that have been in contact with Meet Me in Marlborough are American Cruise Lines, who we have had discussions with the Fender system. Eric is from American Cruise Lines, is in the process of providing us more information on that, hopefully soon. Lindblad Cruises is another one that is interested in docking in Marlborough, and also Sea Streak. The rates we discussed were from $2 to $3 per foot for docking. We do have some issues where other piers have electric, water, and sewer hookups. We don't provide any of that. There is a possibility we could do a flat fee rate for the ships also. Up and down the river, any pier we've talked to does not charge not-for-profit groups, such as Clearwater, Fireboat John Harvey, and also the schooner Apollonia are all considered not-profit. Anything that's educating children or is providing a source of well-being for the community, they felt, most cities have felt that there was no need to charge them if they're just staying for 24 hours. We need to come up with a harbor master or some type of reservation guideline one person to be in charge of that. I think I've kind of been thrown into that a little bit, at least for 2022, if that's all right with the board. And the other things we've had is there's usually a docking contract, which also the ship that will be docking provides a $1 million liability policy, covering the town for any issues. Other than that, I don't have much more. There was a lot of back and forth emails with some of these groups and some of these cities. But if you guys have any questions, I could possibly answer it or add to our guidelines once we get them established.
You guys got questions for Gail?
Gail, that was a lot of ships that you listed. That's awesome.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
Can they all be accommodated with the current structure of the pier, or are any of them too large based on the fender
basically,
piles?
the non-for-profits are small enough to dock at the floating dock without utilizing the actual pier. The 3 cruise lines, though, do need the fender pile system or some type of fenders, but hopefully American's coming up with an answer for that. And it is exciting. I never expected that many people to kind of jump at it. We do have our little CSX hurdle that we have to take care of, but I mean,
Just a little.
yeah.
So Gail, in your guys' discussion, how is I want to say, how are people contacting someone in order to utilize the pier, and what's the point of contact, the contractual part? Where's all that coming from? Because
It's going to have to be on the town website. There's going to have to be some type of either PDF. This is not a very good format, but you know, there's an actual contract with the names of everyone involved, length of time, name of the boat owner, the actual owner of the boat, you know, all the legal requirements, telephone, email, dock space, dates, and fees, and their program information, along with insurance information. But I think we're going to have to somehow include that on the town website.
all this stuff has to go, it has to go through the clerk's office because they got to put stuff on file. We have to have insurance on file. We have to have all their paperwork on file. It's not that they just contact a member of the committee and say, I want a dock there tomorrow. That's not the way it works.
Well, it's up to the town clerk. She wants to be the reservation person for the dock.
She has to
That's,
take
I didn't really think she'd want to do that.
I mean, the thing is, we have to, just like we have, Tom Back's going to be the parks rental.
Yeah.
There has to be someone that's the point person, has to have a book and say, yeah, it's available. It's not now, as far as this, we're going to have multiple boats. We have to have further discussion on how we manage that, who's going to manage that. But paperwork-wise, has to go through the clerk's office. They're the bookkeeper of all documents. Insurance, any contractual agreements, they have to keep on file. So we can't just tell these people, yeah, you could come here, no problem, and just sign this piece of paper. No, it's not. That's how. I could just tell you right now. One thing is, tell the committee that's not how it's going to work.
Well, I don't think we ever thought that was going to work.
So I mean, we got to figure
But
that.
I also
part
don't
out.
want to throw it on the town clerk to be the reservation.
She can't do
That's why. Yeah, that's why I don't. Yeah. Yeah, the paperwork process. Yeah.
But we got to have someone that's going to like I know, back in the day, the train station committee oversaw a lot of that for us. Now it's kind of has gone on to the town clerk to schedule what days are available and what not. And now again, it's not as busy. I mean, we have weekends a lot of times, some meetings during the week. But if you're talking about this boat coming in, this boat coming out, and there's got to be like a dock master, or we got to have.
Well, that's why I said there's got to be a harbor master, and I don't know who you have in the town that would want to take on that.
That's been the $1 million question since we did this, and I think that's a big discussion the board's going to have with the committee members there of how we're going to handle this. But some way, somehow, that paperwork's got to get back to the town clerk. You're talking about money changing hands and contractual. That all goes through the town clerk's office. So we got to have a group meeting, possibly, with them, with the board members and the town clerk's office, and figure out, because this is coming up, right? It's starting.
Yeah, it is.
So we got to come up with a solution quickly if we're going to do this. The floating dock has been put in thanks to you and the highway department. I mean, the highway department built a whole contraption just to get that thing into the harbor by using what's that, railing from the sides of the old guardrail. They made it, yeah, they did it all in-house, so it was awesome that they actually did this. But, you know, the floating dock's in there, so people are, you know, just going up and down the water is going to be tempted just to put their boat there. How do we stop that from happening without having liability issues?
Well, we're putting one thing I said was to put some type of sign up, 30-minute pleasure boat docking, you know, for drop off and pickup. Any dock up and down the river, you could stop your recreational craft at.
Right.
Usually it's, you know, drop off, pickup, no scheduling or anything involved.
All right, well, again, I just want to have some, I think I need to have a meeting with you in the committee and get a better understanding of what direction we're going, because we're here, the dock's in, the CO's forthcoming. We've been talking about it, but we actually got to get pen to paper and actually get this complete, because we're at the season right now. So if you could set up something, get some dates that they're available.
Yeah, I'll get a couple.
I'll make myself available. I'll ask the clerk's office to be available, and any other member that wants to be on this committee, just let us know. But we have to move quickly.
Yeah, it's only a matter of drafting up this
Yeah.
stuff, and I mean, you know, like you said,
We have to
between the
draft it
clerk's
up. The
office
town board has to accept it. We have to pass it by resolution that this is the actual policy. So there's a process, right?
yeah. So for next month, maybe we
yeah.
can get it, you know, completed.
But thank you for taking care of that. This is like one of those things that we have this great pier and we have a lot of enthusiasm and everybody wants to do it, but you also got to protect the taxpayers that are paying for it. We want to make sure from an insurance perspective and damage perspective that nothing happens to this pier. We still have a $1.5 million bond on this that we're paying off, so I want to make sure that we do it right. And I appreciate you taking the realm on that. So
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll get it complete by next month then, so you can get something.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Gil. All right, Tomback renovation, I'm not going to go any further. Again, it's out to bid right now, and the bid opening will be on May 26th, so we'll see where we're at. Extension of the supervisor term, so I did, as last meeting, I asked you if I could reach out to our attorney to see where we go with this. He did get back to me. There's two ways of doing this. So from the feedback I got from all you guys, it didn't seem like everybody really was on board with term limits, because the things I got back from you is, has anybody really served more than 12 years anyway? And the last no, not from your perspective, from a supervisor's position. And the last person we could think of was Mr. Canosa, which has been over 20 years ago or more, probably more than that now. So you guys didn't feel that that was an issue, and like I think Dave mentioned a lot of times, that if people don't want you to be in that office, they'll vote you out of that office, and if they want you to be in that office, they'll keep. Again, my opinion is I believe in term limits, but this is a board decision, and that's where we're going. But having said that, I did follow up with him and say, well, how do we just at least put the 4-year term out there? There's two possibilities for a 4-year term. So when we just did the last one, which was the highway superintendent, we did that by resolution, and that's by Town Law 2424A. When you do it by resolution, it has to be in a biennial election year. A biennial election year means an odd year, which means it couldn't be this year. It would have to be next year. And it would be the same as what we did with the highway superintendent. You put it out in a biennial election. People vote on it yes or no, and that yes or no would take effect right after that election is complete. What we were trying to do, at least what I was suggesting to do, was to do it this election. That way, when we get to the actual supervisors election day in 2023, the people running actually understand what length their term is at that point, so they know it getting into it already. We can do it that way. It's a longer process. You have to do it by local law. It's Town Law 25. You have to pass an actual local law. There's a lot more paperwork involved. There's a lot more wait time involved. And that means a lot more attorney fees involved. So I'm asking the board, I'm okay either way. Do you want to do it this election, or do you want to wait till the following election, and then I'll just let our attorney know? So I'm asking your feedback.
Well, I will wait to, you mean this coming November, or you mean next
Wouldn't it be this year?
election?
No, not off year, odd year.
2024.
2022 is even, it's got to be odd. It's got to be a biannual election, which is 2023. So we could wait till then, and then that's done by resolution. It's a mandatory referendum, right? It's got to go out to vote either way. Either way, it's going out to vote. It's just, when you do it the other way, it's just a basic resolution. You pass it. There is some wait times involved. There's 50 days to this, 50 days to that, things like that. But there's timing issues with that, but it's just a basic resolution. And then you get that to the Board of Elections, and then they get it on the ballot. This way, the timing is also there, but there's a lot more paperwork involved, so it becomes a little more trickier. We do have plenty of time to do it. Again, but we have to actually pass a local law. It's kind of like when we're doing updates to our codes and things like that. There's a lot more involved in it. So
Well,
either way, I'm going to ask you.
So basically, if you wait till the odd year, that election, the supervisor will be 2 years. If he gets it passed, will you go with 4 years right away?
Just like we did with the town clerk, just like we did with the highway superintendent.
So
You wait till 2023, and the people vote yes then, that you got 4 years.
Okay, so
you could do it then. It was just like, the only thing I was saying for this year was because people getting into it would know it already. But it does, like I said, one way or another, it doesn't matter.
So if it's going to start the same time, I think it's
So
probably
that's
easier.
why I'm asking you before I have them start paperwork.
I'd rather spend less money on lawyers. And
Yeah,
get it done
that's
in an
fine.
odd year.
You've had what?
Spend less money on lawyers and get it
What,
done in
what,
an
what,
odd year.
what's the cost? Do we know?
A resolution is
No, what's the cost to do it now?
$200, but to do it now is probably $1,500. Because you've got to do multiple paperwork and timing and
And it
things
still
like
occurs the same time, so if it passes, it passes either year, it's going to happen in
that.
2020.
Again, it's like, it doesn't,
Affect the timing.
it's up to you guys.
Doesn't make a difference to me one way or the other.
We could wait. Want to wait?
I say wait.
Well,
You say wait,
I'm
you say
going to make a
wait.
comment on, if we're going to do that for the supervisors, are we thinking of doing terms on that, or you're saying
No.
no terms?
We're doing this first, and we'll discuss
The
terms
feedback I got from the board is they weren't wanting
Well,
term
I know-
limits.
I know that I spoke, and I thought, I was saying for councilmen that I think that I was good at I'm having no term limit for councilmen, but I think that if we're, looking into the future, not this present day where we have a solid board, but into the future, do we really want to do 4 years of a supervisor with no term limits?
Again, like I said, that's up to the voters, right?
Well, what's your opinion?
That's up to,
What's your
again, we don't, whatever you want to do, but
What's
the
your
majority is saying yes.
I have,
I know you have reservations of not doing anything, right?
My opinion is that I could see a 4-year for the term, for a supervisor, but I think that we should implement term limits on that. Either 2 years consecutive or 4 years and then, take a break, another 4 years.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, because if you do get, again, in looking into the future, looking in everybody's crystal ball, you want to have some kind of drawback. If you do happen to have a supervisor, then you got 4 years to,
But sometimes with term limits, if the guy's doing a good job and his term is up, now you don't have a great candidate running, and they get into that position, and it backs up the progress for another 2 or 4 years.
It's like you say.
That's my opinion.
It's a
I don't like
double-edged,
term
it's a
limits.
double-edged sword.
If they don't want
so
you here,
that's
they'll
why we
vote you
don't
out.
But again, we're going into uncharted waters here, and
Well, it's not uncharted. We already have a highway superintendent and a clerk that's got 4 years.
It's been, historically, it's been 2 years.
It was 2 years for the town clerk
Right.
and the highway supervisor, 4 years.
No, listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm just saying, I don't like the term limit.
Yeah, it's.
You're progressing in one direction, and then all of a sudden, somebody's got to drop out, and he gets somebody in that doesn't have the same ideas, or maybe wants to throw a wrench in things, because that's what happens. But
Again, we could talk about it all day, but it's going to be a voter decision what you want to do. But let's just, instead of, because we're going to rehash it because we've been through it, I'm just going to go down the board. What, 2023, no term limits? Just tell me your opinion quick. Where do you want to go?
2023, no term limit.
All right, Councilman Session.
I would say 2023 as well. I'm with no term limit at the moment.
Councilman Malinelli.
2023, and obviously I didn't want term limits.
No term limits.
Well, I would say 2023 with term limits.
And I would go with 2023 with term limits, but we're outvoted, Manny, so it's a 3-2 decision. And we're going to go with 2023 with no term limits, and I will inform our attorney that he doesn't have to do anything until next year. Okay?
Okay.
So I will say let's put that to bed for now. So we will, I will ask to remove item B off of old business because we won't be talking about it till next year.
Sounds good.
You got a motion? I need a second to move it. Move it all.
Second.
Make a motion to remove extension of supervisor term.
All right, thank you.
I'll second you, Eddie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. New business. Anybody got any new business? We got a lot of business going on tonight. We're making up for last meeting when we had a quick one.
Yeah, sure you did that when I wasn't here.
Yeah, correspondence. I have one correspondence. Came in late, but for a good cause. Good thing. It's from Tara Noto, Cub Scout Master, Pack 73. Town of Marlborough Supervisor and Board of Trustees. Cub Scouts Pack 73 will use and include Chance Memorial Park facilities for the weekend of June 10th to the 12th for a camp out and to attend the annual flag burning ceremony to which we were invited by Tom Schroeder. We will be using the pavilion and kitchen facilities, including the barbecue grill when not in use, as we understand there is a private party on Saturday who happens to be the Schroeder family. And that party is starting at 4 p.m. Friday, and I don't understand this one, Carl. It says ending approximately 10 a.m. on Sunday. That's a long party for Tom. I know what he's saying, but it's just, when I'm reading it, I'm like, man, those Schroeders know how to party. So I'm writing you this letter to request a waiver of the $300 residence fee that is normally required for use of the facility. We very much appreciate your consideration of this request. Thank you, Tara Joy Noto, from the Boy Scouts Pack 73. So I need a motion if we want to waive the fee.
I make a motion to waive the fee.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. So moved. Colleen, you'll inform Tara? All right, public comments. Anybody got public comments? I think, go ahead there, Mark. Nothing yet. I just got 2 emails back and forth from American Cruise Line, but no design plans or no contractual agreements of any kind yet. So still talking. So nothing yet. All right, then I'm going to get into resolutions. These are minor updates to the codes and our local laws. As we go through them, you guys know about them. We talked about them. I send out emails about them, but they're very minor. But they're little tweaks that need to be done. So, first one is Resolution 49 to introduce a local law of the year 2022, amending Section 71.3, open burning prohibition in certain zones of the Marlborough Town Code. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, seconded by, who wants to second it?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilman Malinelli. Introduce the following proposal local law to be known as Local Law Number We don't put it till we actually pass it. Entitled local law number, same thing. 2022, the local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 71.3, open burning prohibited in certain zones of the Marlborough Town Code. Be it enacted the town board of the town of Marlborough that the town code is amending as follows. Section 1, section 71.3 of the town code of the town of Marlborough be amended as follows. Detentions are stricken and additions are underscored. Open burning of any type, including in container, is prohibited in the R, B, C, and C zones. So what is being added is the BC zone, which was a new zone that we created years ago, and we just never put it in the code book that burning is not allowed during the burning time of the year. So again, like I said, a minor update, but something that needed to be done. If any of these sections of the local law shall be held unconstitutional, invalid, or ineffective, the whole or part of such determined shall be deemed in effect, impair, or invalidate the remaining of the law. The local shall be affected upon filing the Secretary of State. This one's not. Whereas the legislation of type 2 action under New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment, Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that to pursuant a municipal home rule of the state of New York, it will be necessary to hold a public hearing upon this law being offered. The following resolution, which was seconded by Council Member Molinelli, who moved its adoption. Whereas on May 9th, 2022, Supervisor Corcoran has introduced the local law of the town of Marlborough to be known as Town of Marlborough Local Law Number, we'll get it when we finish, of the year 2022, a local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 71.3, open burning prohibition in certain zones for the Marlborough Town Code. Be it resolved that the public hearing be held in relation to the proposed changes set forth in the forum notice hereinafter provided, and with hearing parties of interest and citizens shall have the opportunity to be heard. The public hearing will be held at the Town Hall, 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, 12547, May 23rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Prevailing time at the notice said meeting shall be published in the official newspaper of general circulation of the town of Marlborough and by the town clerk at least 5 days before such hearing. The notice shall be the following form. And I'm not going to go through the whole form. It's basically a standard form that Colleen in the town clerk's office has to put out. Does anybody want me to read it? No. Okay, thank you.
I'd like you to read it.
Oh, God. Get out of here. The foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, which resulted as follows.
Supervisor Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Cowkey.
Yes.
Councilman Zambito.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, May 9th, 2022, Resolution 50, introduced local law of the year 22, amending section 68-10, private road signs of the Marlborough Town Code. So this comes from the Highway Department Superintendent's Office, one of two that we're going to have on here. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, seconded by, who wants to do it this time?
I'll second.
Councilman Zambito. Introduced the following proposed local law of the known local law number of 2022, entitled Local Law Number 2022, local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 68-10, private road signs of the Marlborough Town Code. Be it enacted by the town board of the town of Marlborough that the town code is amended as follows. Section 1, section 68-10A of the town code of the town of Marlborough is amended as follows. Deletions are stricken, additions are underscored. Private road sign must be erected and maintained by the property owner or owners on said road. Private road signs must have white lettering on green background or black characters on a white background. So we're leaving in, John, like just so you know, I told Kathy, we're leaving in the old green ones too, but also saying that they, you know, the new ones we are having are black characters on white background. That way, if there's some that are green and some that are black, it covers both, okay? Newly created private roads must have a road name approved by the planning board prior to subdivision, approval of the building inspector prior to issuing the certificate of occupancy, and the owner must prior to approval of submission to the planning board or building inspector. Nothing else in this change except for what was underlined, so I'm not going to read the rest. If any of this section of local law shall be held unconstitutional, invalid, or ineffective, the whole or part as such determined shall not be deemed affected, impaired, or invalid the remainder of the local law. The local shall be affected upon filing the Secretary of State. And I'm not going to read all this. The secret review has been okay. Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that pursuant to municipal home rule that the state of New York, it will necessary to hold a public hearing upon the law. He offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Councilman Member Zambito, who moved for its adoption. Whereas on May 9th, 2022, Supervisor Corcoran introduced a local law of the town of Marlborough known as Town of Marlborough Local Law Number of the Year 22. Local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 6810 private road signs of the town. I'm not going to read the rest of this. It's the same time. The public hearing is the same time as the last law, May 23rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Town clerk has to post it. And the following resolution was duly put to vote, which was resolved as follows.
Supervisor Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Kauke.
Yes.
Councilman Zambito.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Thank you. We're getting there. Resolution 51 to introduce local law of the year 2022, amending section 130-14.9, street identification signs of the town of Marlborough Town Code. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, seconded by Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Introduced the following proposal, local law, known as local law number 2022, entitled local law number of 2022. Local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 130-14.9, street identification signs of the Marlborough Town Code, be enacted by the town board of the town of Marlborough, the town code, amended as follows. Section 1, section 130-14.9A of the town code of the town of Marlborough is amended as follows. Deletions are stricken and additions are underscored. So again, I'm just going to read what's underscored, and that's signs shall be white characters on the green background or black characters on the white backgrounds. So that's what's changed. It's just an addition, because you could see through the town we're doing white signs with the black background now. So we add that to our code. I'm not going to read all this. We read this twice already.
Yeah, it's good.
And you guys know this, unless somebody wants me to read it.
Nope.
You're good. Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that pursuant to municipal home rule of the state of New York, it will be necessary to hold a public hearing upon this law. He offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Council Member Sessa, who moved for its adoption. And again, local law, we did on May 9th. And we are having a public hearing again on May 23rd, 2022 at 7 p.m., same as the other ones. The clerk's office will be publishing it 5 days in advance. And the foregone resolution was duly put to vote, which resulted as follows.
Supervisor Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Kauke.
Yes.
Councilman Zambito.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sessa.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 52 to introduce local law of the year 2022, amending section 114-5, general requirements for the Marlborough Town Code. Supervisor Corcoran proposes the following, seconded by Councilman.
Molinelli.
Well, I was going to give Manny this
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry, Manny.
Councilman Cauchi
You look this way. I didn't know what you...
introduced the following proposal, local law to be known as local law number of 2022, entitled local law number 22. Local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending section 114-5, general requirements of the Marlborough Town Code, be enacted by the town board of the town of Marlborough that the town code is amended as follows. Section 1, section 114-5D of the code of the town of Marlborough, amended as follows. Deletions are stricken and additions are underscored. So this has to deal with maintenance of your lawns. Permissions shall be maintained in such a manner that noxious weeds do not encroach upon adjoining properties, and the grass thereon shall be mowed or cut when the height of growth exceeds. We're taking out 12 inches and we're putting in 12 inches. So
No, you're taking out 24.
24 inches, I'm sorry.
What
24.
is driving this change, can I ask?
The code enforcement officer asked that it be done because there's too many people with their properties being not cut.
I was just curious.
And we want to make our town look nice, so when people drive around and go to the wineries and pick your owns, that they don't see 2-foot-high lawns. So we are going to change it to 12-inch, as long as you guys say yes.
Even that's pretty high.
Exempt from the provisions are those parcels located in RAG1, which obviously agriculture is exempt from all these types of codes. Permissive for active farming, woodlots, grazing, pastures, and growing hay. So we're not affecting farmers in any way. If any of this section of the law shall be held unconstitutional, invalid, and effective, the whole or part such determined shall not be deemed effective, impaired, invalid, or remember local law. Secra, Supervisor Corcoran advised the town board that the pursuant of municipal home rule of the state of New York, it will be necessary to hold a public hearing upon this law. He offered the following resolution, which was seconded by Council Member Cauchi, who moved for its adoption. Whereas today, May 9th, we introduced the local law, and on May 23rd, 22 at 7 p.m., we will be having our public hearing, along with all the other ones. And public notice will be put out 5 days prior by the clerk's office. And the following resolution was duly put to vote, which resulted in the following. Yes.
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 Wake up over there, Dave. Jeez.
He had a
I
banana for
know.
dinner, the poor guy.
I've been up since 5 a.m. too. Come on. Okay, and item number 15, Eddie, I'll give it all to you.
Okay, at 9:30, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yes.
So moved. Thank you.